It's been another productive month working on my game, and here's everything that I've changed since last time. Starting with this little hub. It is very bare bones, but it does what we need, which is allow you to go from your melee weapon to a ranged weapon. You can basically swap between the two as your starting weapons as you would like. It is also where I introduce you to one of the new actual mechanics, which is now the meta progression, or the progression that it basically maintains with you between every single run. Because as you play through the game, you will collect power-ups, and then every future run, as you collect more of them, you become more powerful, and ideally will proceed to go further and further into the dungeon. So by hitting tab, I can go into my pause screen, and in our stats, you can see there's a whole new menu here. There's items and upgrades. Right now, there's a few different items, and you can see how many you have, and how many upgrades of that type you have. So what's different is now on every single room, you will have a different kind of item drop. It is all randomized, but in every single level, there are 3 rooms that are selected that are specifically card drops. So instead of starting out with a power up and going to an item room, somewhere in the level, there are 3 of them. You can go ahead and get lucky and get 3 of the ones you go to are all have the card ones, or you might need to explore a little more. Now, you're not required to collect them, because if you want to, you can go ahead and just take none of them and go to the next floor as you would. But in the future, it will be actually more challenging the further on you go, so you might want to stick around and grab them and try to find them. And once you collect enough, this box to the right, you can see I have the option to upgrade my actual stats and get HP up, damage up, crit chance up, and it shows you how many of that item I have and how much it costs to upgrade. I cannot do anything with this right now. I can see all my items, and right now it's only a number, but I do need to include still the icon on these so you know which currency it is using compared to these. But effectively, this is HP, damage, armor, or damage reduction, and then crit chance and crit damage. I'll go ahead and escape out of here, and we can go into the actual level. So here we are loaded into the actual game, and unfortunately, as you can see in the top right corner, the minimap is still not working. I've contacted the dungeon architect developer, and hopefully we'll get this resolved soon. Unfortunately, it seems even with the new updates, it's still not fixed. It's possible there's something going on in my specific configuration versus everyone else's. But now that we're here, things as before, we can go through the doors as we have before, but we can also, of course, go into a different room. Now, you might have noticed that the mobs did not immediately spawn, and that is actually intentional. So now you have to be inside the room and actually land physically in the room for the mobs to spawn. They don't just automatically spawn. As before, right-clicking is block, which does prevent all damage from the direction. And you can see we have cleared the room and an item has dropped. In this case, it is a gold coin, which if I pick up, you can see in the top there, it says currency 1. Currently, the actual level items, which are currency, don't do anything. And chests, if you see as chest spawn, unfortunately currently it doesn't do anything either. Now you see there's actually a new character right there that is throwing daggers at us. This one right here. She can actually do the special where she can start summoning pools that appear below you as you move around, and they literally are where you are, so you need to run around, but as long as you avoid it, you won't take damage. So killing her or interrupting her is a great way of doing it. Now, I haven't been blocking there, so I've gone ahead and exploded into a new mist of blood. Before, we just died. Now we also explode into blood as the others, because why not? If we go ahead and do a new game, and I can go ahead and give ourselves still some power-ups with the backspace, I can go ahead and just get us some extra stats, for example, just to show you kind of the demo of it. So there we go. I just grabbed myself some extra power-ups, and I can go ahead and come in, load into a new level, and continue on and grab ourselves some new items. Now, of course, down the line, you won't be able to have just a debug option to grab yourself whatever you wanted. For the time being, while this game is still in development, you can do that. And you can see we grabbed ourselves another coin. Now, the one-way doors are still not configured to actually close. So if you experience a one-way door and you walk up to it, and it's in the correct direction, it will still open for you, even though it's supposed to be locked. So just keep that in mind. So again, here's one of the new mobs. There she was. She doesn't have a lot of health, but very dangerous. And here we go. We got ourselves a card. So I can go ahead and pick this up. Let's do critical damage up. And you can see our critical damage is 150%. I'll go ahead and select it. Now, if we go in here, you can see our critical damage is 200%. It all updates automatically. And we can actually go and fight the boss. So the one thing that we have now introduced is actual multiple levels. So there's 3 different bosses. There's this boss. which unfortunately does have currently a bug with it, where if you get hit while it's charging, and I'm not sure why, occasionally it will actually crash the game. It both crashes the Unreal Engine and this game. Still trying to debug what is causing it, but hopefully that will be resolved soon. But now we're in a new level, and there's 3 total. Each one has its own actual boss, and each one is slightly bigger than the previous. But the amount of cards that you get in each level is still maintained to be 3. So in my case, I can see the boss that's over there. So I'm actually just gonna go towards the boss. But I dashed right into a hole. And now with a few extra power-ups, now I just shoot projectiles instead. And if I go inside, I can just start with this. Just so you can have a few little variations to start with and play around with. There's also been improvements in the detection of actual projectiles in terms of how they're actually hitting. Now here we go. We've cleared another room, and I have actually gotten ourselves a metal shard. So I'm going to go ahead and pick it all up. I can pick it up with E, and right now, you can see here, I have 1 metal shard, and this maintains. If I go ahead and go through the entire level and die or clear the level, it will actually save that information. Now, the old item rooms are still here, and you can see a little figure here, and this doesn't do anything. You can pick it up, but currently they don't do anything. They just need to be still removed or swapped out for something else, maybe a secret room, which is something I'm planning to do in the future. And here's another new item that I have, which is just a health potion. So you go ahead and just press E to grab it. You see you have 71 out of 125 health. Grab it and you get yourself 20 more health. Depending on your luck, you can just get extra health as you play around. And so you can actually stay in the dungeon considerably longer than you would normally as you're starting out. Now, the plans are to add a lot more items, of course, as we progress. But as you can see, we're getting our cards. We can actually get some lifesteal. That will help us tremendously. And actually see the boss room there on the minimap. The big icon still there, despite the rooms not actually showing up. So I still get an idea of where the boss room is. There we go. And we've actually found a key. And again, it's another one of those things that I've not implemented as of yet, just because this is for the secret room, but we have not unlocked it. Now, again, we could go all the way around, clear that room over there, or we can just jump right into the boss room and fight the boss. So go ahead and take it out as best as we can. There we go. It has been defeated. Nice big blood splatter. And then we'll load it into the next level. Now I'll just go ahead and just go right here and just bypass the rooms because I just like bypassing rooms. It's just like a fun feeling that, hey, you know, I don't actually have to go through the same order as kind of the game wants me to. And here's another meta item. So I'll go ahead and pick it up. And you can see we're already collecting 1 of each. And once we have 10, we can go ahead and upgrade our stats. But unfortunately, this time around, I also fell in. And we look at our items. You see our metal shards is 1, but unfortunately, it seems the crystal shards displayed as dying did not get maintained. So that's actually a bug that I need to adjust, that when you die, it should store your crystal shards. But assuming that you've cleared the level, you can collect enough of these and get yourself a power-up. Now, you might be like, okay, well, I don't want to go through all that right now. It's too much of a hassle. I've added some debug keys to fix things. So if I press the right bracket, I can reset all my progress, and now everything is 0. But if I hit the backslash button, you see in the top it says meta progression 99, and if we look at our stuff, it sets everything to 99. So I can come here and I can upgrade my health and actually play around with starting out with a little more damage, a little more health. And again, once you have this, you get exit out of here, and if you want to, I can reset it back to 99, and now I have 99 more of everything to play with. If I want to, I can go ahead and play with even more. And now I have quite a few HP updates. You can see I have 4 HP upgrades here. Now, the actual number here hasn't updated, but if I exit out of here and now look at it, you can see it's now showing the correct number. Some things are still in the, of course, early development stage. But now that we have this, I can go in here and you can see I have 160 health. So I start out with 160 health and I can get going with a much bigger starting pool of health and actually have a much easier time going forward. As I mentioned, there's 3 bosses in this. So let me show you the 2 new bosses that we have for levels 2 and 3. So here are in the 2nd level boss room. And if we come inside, you can see we have a new mob there. Now, he has a few different attacks. One of them is a spit. He also can summon meteors down, as you can see. And they're quite deadly. You might want to avoid them. But you do have a notification on the bottom. He also has a lunge at you, where he can lunge at you from melee range. But from time to time, he will go ahead and summon those meteors, which you want to make sure you avoid because they're very dangerous. But after you clear him, you go ahead and go into the final third level, and you can try to find the third boss. At the current moment, the actual enemies in the levels don't actually get more difficult as you progress through the dungeon. That is still on the list of things to do. And there I see the boss room actually nearby us. So excellent. So we'll get to him in this run. Here we go. We can go into the boss room. As always, the door shuts behind. We can't get out. The walls are closed. And here are some mini mobs. And then there's the boss. Now, the boss actually has a special power of him. And if he goes and does it, I'm just going to run around him so you see it. We've actually killed all the mobs before he did it. But there we go. He actually has the ability to kind of roar and pull you in towards him into melee range. So if you're ranged, this would be very dangerous. And he also buffs nearby allies. So all of his nearby allies get more deadly. And because they don't get pulled in, but you do, you can get put out of position and actually get killed that way. I go ahead and click new game. And again, all the actual items we've gathered have actually been accumulating here. Again, you can see we have 100 now metal shards. And of course, my UI breaks because it is not clamped yet at 99. Still, you can go ahead and grab all the upgrades you want and play around with it. And as always, this entire pre-alpha demo is available on my Patreon, where you can join these wonderful people here in supporting what I do. It really means a lot. It helps to develop games like this. And if you have any feedback or just want to join the community, the link to the Discord is down below as always. There have been lots of awesome updates this past month and hopefully more still to come. But maybe you're more interested in some of the new Unreal tutorials that I've created. Check out this one right here, where I show you how to use the new 5.4 features to create your own data assets.